All righty. You are looking at sold out MetLife Stadium where today the 16-0 and playoff bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Dallas Cowboys. Why the Dallas Cowboys 0-16? Because they suck. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there at all that's going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay, just once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. I'm going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight. Shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free, fire away, throw in the chat box. I usually try to check on the chat box like every 5 or 10 minutes or so. So as soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free, fire away. Plus, instead of me just like, as usual, always just trying to ramble on for half an hour, not longer, it's nice just to talk to another Giant fan. So please feel free. Throw something in the chat box. Before I get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. In the description box below, top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon. Second one's called the Lawrence Taylor. And the third one's called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to them. So if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. If you are subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. If not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon. That way next time I go live or put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. I can use all the support I can get, guys. And then finally, in the description box, a little bit farther down, there's 2 Facebook links. The top one takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's a group, and I say this in all my videos. Basically, my YouTube channel, my Facebook group, and the Facebook page, which I'm going to go over in a second, it's all called the same thing, like the New York Giants, the Gridiron. That way, I dumb it down for a moron like me. That way, I can remember, right? I'm not like, what's my group called? What's the page called? Something different than the YouTube channel? It's all called the same thing. It dumbs it down for me. The New York Giants, the Gridiron. In the group, we're holding that. We got over 3,900 members. Should be any minute now or any day now. We're going to hit that 4,000 member mark. Should be coming soon. Now, usually in the off season, it's a little slower. Obviously so. Understandably so. But, today is what? The 5th. Soon to be the 6th. I think everybody, well, the rookies, I think it's the 25th. They got to show up for a training camp. And so in like 19 days, guys, holy cow, Batman, we're off and running, right? It's simply amazing. But in the group, as I said, we have over 3,900 members. Once I get done going live here, I usually spend like the next couple of hours putting stuff in the group and in the page, which I'm going to go over in a minute. And as I said, I try to get up to like 10 different things or so every day in the group and in the page. Sometimes in the off season, it's a little difficult to come up with some material, but I try, my best every day. I said, whether I find a video, I maybe share an article, something just show some stats on a ball player. It's a post, a picture, something to make fun of the Cowboys and the Eagles, which are my personal favorites now. I get stuff in there. And also, if you become a member, members post stuff in here as well, too. So between me and the members, there's a ton of stuff going in here every day, 7 days a week. And then the second Facebook link takes you to my Facebook page, right? It's the New York Giants, the Gridiron, but it's a page. I'm the administrator, so I'm the only one that posts anything in here. But it's the same thing. It's 7 days a week. I try to get up to 10 different things in here every day. What are we at here? We're over 1,900 likes, and we're over 6,400 people following the page. The page is really doing rather marvelous. But as I said, it's the same thing. Once I get done with going live, I said, I want to spend like the next couple hours just like putting stuff in the group and in the page. And, you know, as I said, once again, whether it's, you know, a video, I share an article, something with some stats, something, post a picture, and once again, something making fun of the Eagles or the Cowboys, which are my personal favorites. I try to get up to 10 different things in here every day. And I try not to commingle them. So basically, you know, the stuff that I put in the page, I don't put in the group. Whatever I put in the group, I don't put in the page, unless I find something that really makes fun of the Eagles. Then I just got to share it with everybody. But for the most part, I just try to keep the stuff separate, right? So, I mean, so if you go to the page and you like it and you follow it, and you go to the group and become a member, you know, every day there's a ton of New York Giants information every day. And like I say in all the videos, right? If you go to the page and you like it and follow it, and you go to the group and become a member, if you're now 100% satisfied, you get your money back guaranteed. All right, with all that stuff said and done, out of the way with, let's see. Well, I saw, very interesting. You know, I was kind of, you know, some of the things you hear about with Daniel Jones and this and that, and there's an interesting article here. So, who is it? From Giants Wire. Who wrote it? Who wrote it here? I want to give. Does it say who wrote it? Is that it? Javon Kirkland? Maybe. I guess. Quite possibly. Said that. It says. It's from Cody Benjamin of CBS Sports. It says the Giants are among the NFL's best in quarterback stability rankings. Pretty cool. So the New York Giants have been the NFL's fourth best team in quarterback turnover rankings since 2013. And if you start thinking about it, that's pretty true. I mean, but if you're going, I'm talking about, go to 2013. I mean, Jiminy Cricket's bad, man. Why not go back to 2005, 2005, 2000? I mean, as far as, we'd be even better if you went back. If you almost went back like 20 years, I mean, the Giants would really be looking good. It says at the very bottom, most of the teams have been buoyed by longtime franchise quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers of the Packers, Matthew Stafford of the Lions, Eli Manning of the Giants, Derek Carr of the Raiders, and Phillip Rivers of the Chargers. The Giants have had only 3 starting quarterbacks since the start of 2013 season, which was tied for 4th lowest. To qualify this list, a quarterback had to start at least 4 games in a season for a team. I'm just saying, why are we going back to 20? Why not go back to like 2005? And the number would be the same for the Giants. It'd be 3. I mean, if you went back to, did Kerry Collins miss much time? I mean, if you go back to 2009, I mean, if you go back 25 years almost, if you go back to like 1999, it's 5, right? You got Kerry Collins, Warner, right? He started, what was it? Hold on. He started the first 9 games in 2004, and then Eli finished up. Eli went 0-6, and he finally won the 7th start and the final start of the 2004 season. But I mean, I said, unless from 2000, as I'm not remembering something with Kerry Collins, but I mean, if you go back to 1999, you got Kerry Collins, Kurt Warner, Eli Manning, and of course you got Daniel Jones and Mike Lennon. But what they go over here is the Giants have had only 3 starting quarterbacks since the start of the season, which tied for. To qualify, unless the quarterback had to start at least 4 games in the season for the Giants. So I was Glennon, unfortunately, right? And that, the 2021 season. I'll tell you. I tell you, I've seen some bad quarterback. That one game where we had, was it minus passing yardage? I mean, oh my goodness. It says, for the majority of this time, Big Blue had two times starting Super Bowl quarterback MVP Eli Manning calling the shots under center. Manning is known for being an Iron Man, having only missed one start since assuming the starting role. Yeah. Thanks, McAdoo. You're a real piece of crap. What a douche. Due to a surprise move to start Geno Smith for a game, while the post-2012 era was not the most prominent years of Manning's career, he did have one playoff trip and paved the way for the new era with Daniel Jones. Jones is coming back to East Rutherford after signing a massive 4-year extension with New York, so it looks like these two will be the faces of the franchise for at least a decade-long period. The only quarterback that appeared in at least 4 games during a season in this span was Mike Lennon, who started exactly 4 games in 2021 due to injuries to Jones. Nevertheless, New York will be hoping that Jones can turn out similar to Manning in the sense of being a healthy, reliable quarterback that can bring home some winning football back to MetLife Stadium. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive. But, I mean, we can go even farther back, not so much, I mean, if you – what's up, Terrence? Terrence! I mean, if we want to go, we can go back. If we want to, we go back to we're going back here, 75 years in time. Long time, even longer than I've been alive. I mean, we go back to 1948. I mean, there's been just 3 periods of time, 3 little short periods of time where the Giants have not had a quarterback under center for a period of time, right? Who I mean, I can even say almost for the most part, if you want to take Daniel Jones out of the equation. I mean, for the most part, we can go back to 1948. I said there's 3 little periods of time where the Giants did not have a quarterback under center for the most part, who did not either take the Giants or take a team to a championship game or to a Super Bowl. Yeah. So you talk about the Giants drafted Charlie Connolly in 1948. He played from 48 to 61. He took the Giants to 3 championship games. After he retired, his last season was 61. The Giants, so from 48 to 61, Charlie Connolly was there. Took the Giants to 3 championship games. Then from 61 to 64, we had Y.A. Tittle. We traded for Y.A. Tittle. So Y.A. Tittle took us to 3 championship games, 61, 62, 63. Then after Tittle retired in 64, we had 65, 66, and 67. We had Earl Morrall there. We had a trade with the Lions to get Earl Morrall. But Earl Morrall took 2 teams to Super Bowls. He took the 68 Colts, who only had 1 loss. I believe it was might have been the NFL MVP that season too. He took the 68 Colts to a Super Bowl, and he helped take the 72 undefeated Dolphins to a Super Bowl. So that was up to 67. And then from 67 to 71, we had Fran Tarkenton. Fran Tarkenton took Minnesota to 3 Super Bowls. Then you had the first little nugget there. You had 72 and 73, where we just had Norm Snead. Norm Snead didn't take anybody to no playoff games or nothing like that. Although in 1972, he did lead the NFL in passing completion. So he wasn't that much of a bust. Then in 1974, we traded for Craig Morton. Halfway through the season, we traded for Craig Morton from the Cowboys. Craig Morton took 2 different teams, just like Earl Morrall. Earl Morrall took 2 different teams to Super Bowls. We traded for Craig Morton, who took 2 different teams to Super Bowls. He took the 70 Cowboys to a Super Bowl, and him and Roger Staubach in 1971 took the Cowboys back to another Super Bowl. But the year after Craig Morton left the Giants in 1977, he took the Denver Broncos to a Super Bowl. So that was so we had Craig Morton 74, 75, 76. So we had like 2 years with Norm Snead, who didn't take anybody there. Then after Morton left, then we had our second little glitch there. We had 77 and 78. We kind of had the trifecta there. One of my personal favorites. Randy Dean, Jerry Goldstein, and Joe Pisarcik. Oh, yeah. What a trifecta that threesome is, huh? Yeah, we didn't go to any Super Bowls or playoffs with those guys. So, but then in 1979, we drafted Phil Simms. We went to 2 Super Bowls with Phil Simms. And also, we got Jeff Hostetler as well, too. He took us. But, I mean, we had Phil Simms from 79 to 93. Then you had your third little glitch there from 94 to 98, where you had Danny Canal, Kent Graham, and Dave Brown from Duke. You know, that from 94 to 98. Those guys. Even Dave Brown, we drafted him in the compensatory pick of the 1993. I mean, he was not the greatest starter in the world, but he had a long career. He lasted probably at least 10 or 11 seasons. After he left the Giants, I think he wound up with the Cardinals. He was like a backup for them for a while, but he had a long career. Kent Graham wasn't bad, Danny Canal, but Kent Graham wasn't horrible. Kent Graham would have been a very good backup. But just the 3 of them, as far as like just a all-out solid starter now. So that was like your third little glitch right there from 94 to 98. 99, we got Kerry Collins. Kerry Collins took the Carolina Panthers in their second season in existence to the NFC Championship game. They lost to the Packers, but I mean, it just goes to show you how things have changed. I mean, Tom Coughlin was the coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I think in their second season in existence, he took them to the championship game. I mean, it's just crazy how you can take an expansion team in the second season of their existence to a championship game. It's just crazy. But I mean, we got Kerry Collins from 99 to 03, right? He took us to a Super Bowl. 2002, we went back to the playoff games and one of the most gut-wrenching. I want to take a sledgehammer to the TV and annihilate the TV gut-wrenching losses in the playoffs of all time. We're up beating the 49ers like 312,000 points, and we wound up losing. What were we, 38-14? We were winning. I think it was 38-14. We lost 39-38. Oh, my God. And then, of course, then it was we had a field goal try at the end of the game. We have a bad snap. So then they had the ball. I forgot who the one who got the ball was, but he was getting ready to throw the ball downfield. Throws the ball downfield. We had a I forgot who it was, but it was one of our linemen who was a legal receiver at the time, because I guess he was on the end of the line. So he was a legal receiver. The ball was up in the air, and he's down there, and one of the 49ers like pulls his jersey, pulls him to the ground or something like that, totally interferes with him. Refs didn't make the call or anything like that. They didn't guarantee a field goal or not like that, but the Giants would have got another field goal try, right? And quite possibly would have made the field goal and would have won the football game and gone on at least the next round of the playoffs anyway. But, what a horrible. But, the 49ers came back and beat us, but the 49ers got smoked in the next round of the playoffs by Tampa Bay. So I was laughing. I was pissing my pants. I was so happy for that one. Thank you, Tampa Bay. Thank you. So, I mean, we had Kerry Collins, and after Kerry Collins in 2004, we had a Hall of Famer, Warner, right? Or Warner, throwing passes for us for the first, it was 9 games. We were 5-4. For whatever reason, they wound up benching Warner, and then they wound up starting Eli. It was just kind of how we wound up with Kurt. We were still 5-4. We were in the playoff hunt, and they just go sit down there. You hold the clipboard, future Hall of Famer. We're gonna put Eli in there, let him lose the season for us. That's what happened. We went from 5-4 to 5-10, and we finally beat the Cowboys last game of the season. But it is what it is. But I mean, from 2004 to when Eli retired, right? We had him, and then we got Daniel Jones, who took us at least to a playoff. So I mean, if you go back to like 1948, hey, I caught you late. I'll watch it from the beginning. What's up? What's up? What's happening? Terrence, what's up? There you go. Happy 4th of July to everybody. I hope it was a safe one. But I mean, if you go back to 1948, I mean, the Giants have had, we haven't had every quarterback hasn't been with the Giants. I mean, like what Eli was, But I mean, but we've had solid quarterback play since like 1948. Because beyond that, beyond 1948, the Giants went to a ton of championship games. So we had quarterbacks, take us to a lot of championship games. We had a lot of guys that didn't last very long. Obviously, a lot of their careers didn't last very long, especially due to the war, and guys getting injured and this, that, and the other thing, But I mean, we went to before we drafted Charlie Connolly. I mean, Giants went to a ton of championships: 46, 44, 41, 39, 38, 35, 34, 33. I mean, we went to a ton of championship games. We won the championship game in 20. We won the championship in 27. There weren't any championship games then, but so I mean, we always usually have had good, solid quarterback play. For the most part, I mean, maybe with Daniel Jones, it might be taking a little slow, taking its time, but at least he's taken to a playoff game. So it's nice to see the Giants get a little nod there with the that quarterback stability. Right? I mean, as I said, they started since 2013. The Giants have had 3 quarterbacks that have started 4 games or more. Well, I said, man, if you went back all the way to, I said like 1999, go back like 25 years. I think the Giants have only had 5 quarterbacks. I think, as I said, Collins. I'd have to look. Collins was there from I think 99 to 2003 for 5 seasons. Now, I'm not sure if he missed some time in there one of those seasons, but I mean, he was the quarterback for 5 years. Then we had Kurt Warner in the beginning of 2004. Then we had Eli for the longest time. And then we had Mike Lennon, and then we had Daniel Jones. So I mean, we've had like. The last 25 years, we've only had like 5 quarterbacks. I mean, some of these teams had like 5 quarterbacks in almost in a season. I mean, it's crazy. So, the Giants, I mean, it looks like the Giants, have their quarterback, for at least the near future anyway. I mean, Daniel Jones is certainly working on his craft. The thing is, you can get better. I mean, if you have better weapons, obviously you can work on your accuracy. You can work on the film. You can study the heck out of the other teams. You can study the heck out of the opponents, the defensive coordinator's tendencies. It helps, obviously, if you're in the same system. I mean, because if you can just call out a play and you're doing that stuff in your sleep. You just close your eyes and you can see maybe the different patterns that, you can just close your eyes and, okay, this guy's going to do maybe this, because each play that gets called, the guy walks up to the line of scrimmage. He has a couple patterns that he can run. But I mean, the more, because it's not an easy system, but I mean, the more you're familiar with it, the better it's going to get for him. The one thing it's going to be really, I mean, because it's like, he's never going to be a Patrick Mahomes. I mean, some guys are just got it. I mean, they make it look like a freaking joke out there. The guys scrambling around, this, that, and the other thing. And Patrick Mahomes looking this way, and he throws the ball over here to a guy who's wide open over there while he's looking over. Some guys can just do stuff like that. Oh, that's not Daniel Jones. But he can certainly, without question, help himself. And as I said, if we can ever get a number 1 wide receiver, not Waller, but I mean like a number 1 wide receiver, I like what we got. All right, then they got seen this. Who is this? Who did this? The 8th best assistant coaches in Giants history. Here we got Giants Wire. Who wrote this? Does it say? Oh, come on, man. It didn't say. All right. Maybe it says it at the bottom. Oh, maybe John Fennelly? Maybe. Is that right? Yeah, maybe. But it says the New York Giants are closing in on a century of existence, and many famous and powerful names have worn the blue over that time. When it comes to head coaches, the Giants have had some great ones. Bill Parcells, Tom Coughlin, like a Jim Lee Howell. All right. Steve Owen, who coached for the Giants for 23 seasons, 1931 to 1953. He's the all-time leader in victories, all-time leader, obviously, in games coached, all-time leader in seasons coached. I don't think anybody is going to coach for 23 seasons or more than 23 seasons for the New York Football Giants in this modern day and age. So, and some notable ones, yeah. They got Allie Sherman. I'll give Jim Fossil the nod there. I will certainly give Jim Fossil the nod. He took we're not a powerhouse, but he took us to the playoffs 3 times. I think it was 97, 2002, and 2000. Then after I think we got annihilated, I think, by injuries in 2003. We had a bad season. He got fired. But then Alex Webster. All right. Okay. But what the Giants are really known for is grooming head coaches, men who worked for the club and went on to become some of the great head coaches in NFL history. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Here are 8 of those names. Now, this one here, Marty Schottenheimer. The thing is kind of like, see, at the time, he was only 33. He was our linebacker coach, doing a very good job coaching up Brian Kelly. Pat Hughes was there in 76. Pat Hughes was all right. We just drafted Harry Carson. We had Brad Van Pelt, Brian Kelly, right? So he was doing a pretty good job with the linebackers. The thing was, in 1976, we had Marty Schottenheimer. I said he was only 33. So that was kind of a little young at the time. But the thing that just kind of, if you look at it right now, because let me read this here first, right? Marty Schottenheimer is Giants linebackers coach under Bill Arnsparger for the 75 and 76 season. And, well, they're not bringing up. See, Bill Arnsparger was only the head coach for half of the 76 season. The other half, the final 7 games after Bill Arnsparger led us to an 0-7 start, the final 7 games of 1976, John McVay was the interim coach of the Giants. Let's see. So Marty Schottenheimer is mainly credited with coaching a young Harry Carson and converting Brad Van Pelt from a defensive back into a Pro Bowl linebacker. Schottenheimer would go on to be the head coach of 4 NFL teams: Cleveland, Kansas City, Washington, and San Diego, compiling a record of 200, 126, and 1, and is 7th all time in NFL coaching victories. 7th. Very impressive. Oh, excuse me. Schottenheimer, unfortunately, will be remembered for his playoff failures. He took his teams to the postseason 13 times and never made it to the Super Bowl. Well, I mean, some of those things were not really his fault. But anyway, the thing that's kind of like a little bit of a gut punch right now, because you see how good Schottenheimer was as a coach. I mean, he did, he's 200 and 126 in his coaching career. All right. They said this thing was getting to the playoffs and always losing in the playoffs. But the Giants had a research. John McVay was an assistant coach for the Giants in 1976. He was an assistant coach. I think he was like for research and development. That was his title. He coached in the World Football League for 2 seasons until it's folded. So in 1974, 1975, John McVay coached in the World Football League. So then after it folded, the Giants took him on, I guess, and he was an assistant coach for research and development. And after Bill Arnsparger got fired after the Giants lost 27-0 at home to the Pittsburgh Steelers to make us 0-7 in 1976, they fired Bill Arnsparger, and they elevated John to an interim coach, right, for the rest of the season, final 7 games. So they took a guy who was his research and development. They brought, we'll make you the head coach instead of maybe Marty Schottenheimer, right, who'd been with the Giants for a couple of years at least, was doing a pretty good job with the linebackers. He was a little young. John McVay was older. John McVay actually had coaching experience, I guess, with the World Football League. But man, you know, I mean, it's just some of these guys, it's just like some of these are just gut punches. I mean, not that Marty Schottenheimer maybe would have took us to a Super Bowl, because every time we went to a playoff game, he lost. I mean, some of them weren't his fault. Like 1986, the drive. John Elway had the ball at like his 1.5 yard line. Drove Denver all the way down the length of the field, right? Was Schottenheimer on the defensive side? Was he on the field? No. That was his defense. The following season, 1987, was it Biner? I think it might have been Biner fumbled the ball like the 2 yard line as he's going in for the tying touchdown. I think it was. The guy came in from the side, poked the ball out, fumbled the ball. Denver recovers it. Denver's ball the other way, game over. Browns wind up losing once again. I mean, so some of them weren't his fault. But it's just some of these just gut punches. Like we let Marty Schottenheimer, who was doing a good job with the Giants linebackers. Giants didn't have much of anything going on for them back in the mid-'70s. Linebacker play was one of them. So, you know, instead of looking at, you know, a guy from research and development, let's bring that John McVay in. Yeah, he coached for the World Football League, so he's got to know what he's doing, right? Yeah. Why don't we give that Schottenheimer a chance? But that never happened. So anyway, John Fox is number 6. John Fox was Peyton's counterpart on the 2000 Giants as their defensive coordinator. So remember, in 2000, we had John Fox and Sean Payton, right? Fox served under Fossil from 97 to 2001. In 2002, Fox began his head coaching career with the Panthers in Carolina, leading them to a Super Bowl. That was a good, exciting Super Bowl where they lost to the Patriots. But Fox would go on to be the head coach in Denver, where he led the Broncos to the Super Bowl, and then with the Chicago Bears. The next guy up is Sean Payton, right? I mean, so, you know, some of these guys, you know, they were good. Sean Payton. Now, once again, Sean Payton, you know, a lot of his success, you're going to be interested to see what he does with Russell Wilson there in Denver, right? But, you know, obviously you think Sean Payton, you think New Orleans, you kind of think, Drew Brees. So there's a little connection there. You also kind of think like, Bill Belichick. Patriots, a lot of success, a lot of Super Bowls, but Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, right? So how's Bill Belichick doing now, right? Now that he doesn't have a quarterback. How's he doing now? Not too good. But anyway, I said, you know, Sean Payton was hired to be the Giants quarterback coach in 99 by Jim Fossil and was promoted to offensive coordinator in the next season. He is responsible for revitalizing the career of quarterback Kerry Collins. Kerry Collins had a very nice career with the Giants for 5 years. 2000, the Giants offense under Payton became a powerful unit, culminating in the 41-0 whitewash of the Vikings in the championship game. Well, unfortunately, they couldn't score a point in the Super Bowl. Offense couldn't even score a point in the Super Bowl. Payton would go on to take the head coaching reins in New Orleans, leading to the Saints, you know, to a Super Bowl, their Super Bowl win. So now he's coaching the Broncos. Then they have the two guys here. Said obviously Bill Parcells. Obviously, it was funny. We're talking about Marty Schottenheimer, who was the Giants linebackers coach. Well, they got Bill Parcells here, began his Giants career as their linebacker coach and defensive coordinator in 1979 under new head coach Ray Perkins, but declined a job to work in private sector instead. He returned to football with New England in 1980 and then moved to Giants in 1981, just in time to coach the rookie sensation Lawrence Taylor. You know the rest. Parcells took over the head coaching job. We got 2 Super Bowl victories there. He would go on to coach New England, take them to a Super Bowl. He coached the Jets, took them to a championship game. Took the Dallas Cowboys before ending his football career in Miami Dolphins front office, where he was with Joe Shane, right? He was inducted into the Football Hall of Fame in 2013. Now, Tom Coughlin began his Giants career as an assistant to Parcells, coaching wide receivers from 88 to 90. He would go on to become the head coach at Boston College, and then with his expansion, Jacksonville Jaguars, he took them to a championship game, like in their second season in existence as well. He became the Giants head coach in 2004, obviously, and won 2 Super Bowls. Then, of course, we had the three real gut punches right here. I mean, the first one is Tom Landry. Oh, Teddy. Blue gems cost more than red 49er gems. I like blue rings. I say every team needs Andy Dalton to develop your quarterback room. Your system differs. What we got here? Pasadena makes my home team UCLA 76 Rose Bowl winners. Vikings Super Bowl 11 loser. Yep. Oh yeah. They got annihilated. The Raiders. That wasn't pretty. Raiders not welcome back in Pasadena. Raiders never earned a dime. Denver was so mad they lost Super Bowl. I was happy. Well, good. As long as you were happy. But they got Tom Landry. Now we had Tom Landry. Now Tom Landry took the in the 70s. He took the Dallas Cowboys to 5 Super Bowls in the 70s. They wound up winning 2 of them. They lost 3. They went in 70 and 71. Then they went in 75. Then they went in 77 and 78. They 70 they lost to the Colts 16-13. 71 they beat the Dolphins 24-3. 75 they lost to the Steelers 21-17. I can't remember what they was it 27-10. I think they beat the Broncos, and after the 77 season, I think it was 27-10. They beat the Broncos, and then they lost 35-31, a real good, exciting one to the Steelers after the 1978 season. So Tom Landry, I mean, he was the defensive coordinator for the Giants. He left after the 1959 season. So Tom Landry began his professional playing career in 1949 with the New York Yankees of the All-American Football Conference. In 1950, Landry moved over to the New York Giants after the All-American Football Conference disbanded. The All-American Football Conference was around 1946, 47, 48, and 49. So in 1950, a couple of those teams from the All-American Football Conference joined the NFL. The Colts, the 49ers, and the Browns. Those 3 teams in whole joined the NFL. Landry moved over to New York Giants of the NFL, where he was a key contributor as a punter, returner, and defensive back, as well as a player coach. Landry became the Giants defensive coordinator in the mid-50s under head coach Jim Lee Howell and led one of the NFL's most dominant defenses of the year. Giants won the championship game in 1956, which Landry was running the defense, were a staple in the postseason the entire decade. 1960, Landry, a native Texan, accepted the head coaching job of the expansion Dallas Cowboys, a job he would hold for 29 years. Now, could you imagine? I mean, if now this goes to show you, this is a gut punch, and this is just a knockout. This is a stand in the way of a Mike Tyson punch and just let him totally just knock you out until next Wednesday, right? Right here. Landry was an innovator and is considered the father of the modern NFL franchise model. Okay. He led the Cowboys to 5 Super Bowls all in the 70s, which I just previously mentioned, but winning 2 of them. And his team in the post, he had his team in the postseason every year from 1966 to 1982, except for 1974. 1974, they were 8-6. They still had a winning season. They had a little bit of a down year. 1974, the Cardinals were 10-4. I think the Redskins were 10-4. So the Cardinals won the division. The Redskins were a wild card. The Cowboys had a little bit. I mean, it was a tough division. I mean, because the mid 70s, the Cardinals were good, the Redskins were good, and the Cowboys were good. So the Cowboys had a little bit of a rough year, but they still finished 8-6. But they were in the postseason, and back then, you're going back, like in 1970, right? Just say 19. There was only 4 teams in the conference, NFC. There was 3 division winners and 1 wild card team. What do we got? 13 wild card teams each year now, and just because it's all about the Benjamins. Let's get 312 wild card games every year because, once again, it's all about the Benjamins. Not that I'm really complaining, because it is exciting, so don't get me wrong there, but things were a little different back then. You had to actually have a good record. You actually had to earn your way, and you couldn't be like, what was Tampa Bay? Did they have a winning record last year? I mean, or like a couple years ago when Washington was 7-9, they won a division, they wanted to make hosting a playoff game. I mean, it wasn't like that back in the 70s. You had there was only 4 teams in the NFC East, the NFC East, the NFC, the conference that made the playoffs. So you had to have a good record. You had to have a good team. So Tom Landry from 66 to 82. Every year, except for 74, and even in 74, they had a winning record. Took them to the playoffs, and we're like jumping up and down, doing high fives, dancing the Macarena because we made the playoffs one time. He took them from 66 to 82 every year except for one to the playoffs, and we let the guy go. Then, of course, our other assistant is Bill Belichick. Maybe you've heard of him. Bill Belichick began his career in 1979 under Perkins as a special teams coordinator and defensive assistant. He was elevated to defensive coordinator under Bill Parcells in 85, a position he would hold until, it says 91. It's not 91. I guess the Super Bowl that they won it was in 1991, I guess, yeah. Legend has it that in 1991, Giants general manager George Young and outgoing head coach Bill Parcells both agreed to install running back coach Ray Handley over defensive coordinator Bill Belichick as their new head coach. I mean, how stupid can you be? That sent Belichick packing. I don't blame him. Good for you. Get the heck out of there. Ray Handley. I mean, are you kidding me? No one cared until Handley fell flat on his face and was gone after 2 seasons. What a joke he was. Belichick, who took the head job in Cleveland, would also fail on his next stop. It wasn't until he reached New England in 2000 that his head coaching career took off. Well, it's also when Tom Brady was there too. But, Bill Belichick. And then, of course, the number one, the Godfather. The man they named the Super Bowl trophy after, Vince Lombardi and the Green Bay Packers. Right? Vince Lombardi, his name isn't on the Super Bowl trophy by accident, right? Vince Lombardi is considered the gold standard of NFL coaches, and his pro coaching career began with the New York Giants as their offensive coordinator back in 1954. That's right. At one time, the Giants had Tom Landry and Vince Lombardi on their coaching staff, and they kept neither one of them. It resulted in a golden era of Giants football and won championship in 1956. Lombardi would leave the Giants after the 58th season to take the head coaching position with the floundering Green Bay Packers, who had not appeared in the postseason since they won the NFL championship game in 1944. They beat the Giants 14-7 in the 1944 championship game. That's a lost ring season for the New York Giants. 1944, the New York Giants. They played the postseason game. They played it at home. The championship game, they played it at home against the Green Bay Packers. The Giants were beat up, really beat up. The Giants played the week before the championship game. Green Bay had a whole month off in this 1944 championship game. Anyway, just because this season just pisses me off. Green Bay had a whole month off before the championship game, sitting home, eating ding-dongs, watching TV, flipping through Netflix, going on Facebook, all kinds of stuff, right? Maybe playing a little PlayStation in 1944, right? Whatever they're doing back then, right? Healing up, getting all nice and healthy and all that. Meanwhile, the Giants kept playing game after game after game after game, getting all banged up. So they crawled into the 44 championship game, totally annihilated, and they lost 14-7. If the way it is nowadays, that ain't happening. Everybody gets the same amount of time off before the championship game, for a Super Bowl. I mean, could you imagine that? Like one team playing like up to a week before, and the team before that gets a whole month off, healing up and everything. That would never happen nowadays. Well, it happened back in 44, and the Giants got screwed big time. Giants should have won that one. But anyway, I'm sorry, I'm rambling there. Lombardi made quick work of turning the Packers into a powerhouse. That's right. They were 1-10-1, I believe, in 1958. He took them over, and in 1959 they were 7-5, and they never looked back. His second season, 1960, he took them to the championship game. They lost 17-13 to the Eagles at Franklin Field. Then after that, they won 5 championship games, and they won the first 2 Super Bowls under Lombardi. So, I mean, and the Giants just let him go. Unbelievable. So those, I mean, just go to show you. I mean, some the coaches, the assistant coaches the Giants had was unbelievable. Watching the game on turf like New York is not every West. Maybe that's why Dallas is East. That makes sense. Teddy, you got away with words, man. You got away with words. All right, and finally, what we got here? Oh, the 33rd team ranks the NFL uniforms. Where do the Giants stand now? Usually, what I've been seeing, a lot of times, a lot of teams, a lot of teams, a lot of like people and stuff, the Giants uniforms outdated. They should, I don't know, come into more modern, into the to the 21st century, this, that, and the other thing. But the 33rd team ranks the Giants uniforms as number 6 overall. I like that. That's good. I like the old style. I'm an old fart, if you can't tell. I like the old style uniforms. I'm not much for the bling and this, that, and the other thing. They have the Packers number 1, Pittsburgh Steelers number 2, the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, that's with the star and all of that. I mean, they've got the 49ers at number 4, the Chicago Bears. They've had the C on the side of their helmet for forever, right? They're number 5. Giants are number 6. The Raiders, I like their. I mean, with that, the pirate or whatever that is on the side there. I mean, that's classic. I don't like. No, I'm not. I don't like. They got New England number 8 only because that's a newer style. So I'm not. I don't like. They got Denver number 10. I don't like that thing on the side. I'm an old time guy. I like the old Denver thing because I'm a fart. I'm an old fart. They got Kansas City number 9. Yeah. So I mean, I like the way the Giants. I mean, they're just the little NY on the side. That's what they had when I was growing up watching them in 1970. The simple, everything's just nice and simple. A little line down the middle, the red line, a little NY. I mean, it's nice and simple, right? I mean, I like that a lot. It says the NFL uniforms have changed over the years, but some classics have stood the test of time. In a recent poll ranking all 32 teams' uniforms by the 33rd team, the New York Giants ranked 6th overall. And I give them a lot of credit. I applaud them. I'm just an old fart. That's all it is. I mean, when I was a young kid and I was 11, the Giants had a little NY on the side of their helmet. Well, in 1975, when I was 11, they went to Shea Stadium. They changed the little NY and made it like an uppercase, and they call it like a disco version kind of NY. So if you ever see a capital N and a capital Y, funky kind of looking NY on the side of the Giants helmet, it's only 1 year. It has to be 1975. It could be no other year. But when I was a kid and they changed it to that NY, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. And then the next season, they had in 1976, when they opened up Giants Stadium, they had Giants on the side. I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool too. Why? Because I was a kid. It was different. It was changing all that. And, so at the time, I thought it was pretty cool. But now, being an old fart that I am, I just kind of look back at it. I like the way it is right now. I mean, unfortunately, because I'm a moron, I'm an old fart, this, that, and the other thing. I like the little NY more than I like the Giants. And even though that Giants on the side of the helmet, that was representative, the Giants Super Bowls in 86 and 90 and all that, the Giants on it, Lawrence Taylor and all, I like the way the little NY is on the side. It says the Giants currently wear their throwback style uniforms from the glory days of the 50s and the 60s. Well, no. Well, because the NY popped up on the side of the helmet in 1961. So the uniforms, I guess, maybe the style of the uniforms, not the insignia on the side of the helmet. The insignia on the side of the helmet didn't pop there until 1961. But they switched back to them and the traditional NY insignia on their helmets in 2000 and have been wearing them ever since. What I liked about the 2000 season, not only because we went to there was a bunch of things, but one of them, I got DirecTV. So I got to see, because I'm down here in South Jersey, so I don't get a chance to see all the Giant games, but I got DirecTV in 2000. So every Sunday I got to see all the games. So it was the first time in the longest time I got to see every Giant game throughout the whole season. That was one. But they went in 2000. They went back to the little NY on the side of the helmet, which I love because that brought me back to when I was a kid. That's my favorite design. 3, they went to the Super Bowl. 4, I mean, they drafted Ron Dayne. Now, at the time, that was a good pick. Ooh, sorry, I got to move my dog's in front of me. I got to move my legs. Oh, there we go. Whew, that feels better. But Ron Dayne, he led the most rushing yards in the college football history and all. Well, the Giants drafted him, this, that, and the other thing. Well, he grew up about 10 miles from where I'm sitting right now. He played for Overbrook High School, and I believe I went to Washington Township High School, which is about a mile right behind me. Okay. And I believe there was a time, I think, because Overbrook and Washington Township, we used to play each other when I was in high school. So I believe that Ron Dayne might have actually played a game in Washington Township High School because he was for Overbrook. So I was really, and I said he lives about he grew up about 10 miles from where I'm at right now. So I was really pulled for. I was really excited when the Giants got him. So when they drafted him, I was really, really excited. But also, I mean, the Giants went to the Super Bowl that year. The Giants, finally, they changed over to grass for like 3 years. I think it was 2000 to 2002 or 2000 to 2003, whatever. The grass never seemed to work out, but they did change over to grass. I was really happy about that. So 2000 was a really good season. I was just really happy. Said the Giants toyed with several new logo designs in the mid-'70s after leaving Yankee Stadium in 73 and eventually went to the Giants logo on their helmets when they began playing in the new New Jersey Meadowlands because they were New Jersey. So I guess they didn't want to have the NY on the side of their helmet anymore because they weren't playing in New York. Even though they were called the New York Giants, they played in New Jersey. So says with their identity crisis over, the franchise decided to revert back to the New York name on their uniforms, which has helped greatly in marketing of appeal. Absolutely. So, but I mean, I can't complain. I mean, having them at number 6, I'm all for that. I said, I'm just an old fart. I like the old style uniforms. That's just being an old fart. That's just the way I am. All right, guys. Well, pay for color television. Silver and black is not color. No. You could have fooled them. No, black, yeah, I guess. But silver, though. Right? But, all right, guys, it's been 52 minutes. Vinny, G-Man, Terrence, and Teddy. Thank you. Good talking to you guys, as always. Well, guys, whoever spends any time checking me out, thank you. If anybody spends any time watching a replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, as always. And as always, you guys stay safe out there and go